How we doing this week, guys? Keith Scott here. We're going to talk college football games for this weekend, predictions, some of the top games for Week 6. First game, we got the Kentucky Wildcats hosting the Auburn Tigers. Auburn coming off a bye. They just had a quarterback change. I don't expect a lot out of this offense. This team's still trying to get it together. They're 3-2 on the year. Big disappointment from last year, just like Oregon. Kentucky came off a tough win last week. They were playing Eastern Kentucky. They were down 27-13 in the fourth quarter. Patrick Tolles got 2 touchdowns late in the game to tie the game up, force overtime. Defense got a great stop in overtime, and Patrick Tolles throws another touchdown there at the end. He had 4 for the game. Gets Kentucky the win, 34-27 over EKU. They're 5-1. I think they go back. They stay at home this week. Host the Auburn Tiger team. They get another SEC win. I'm predicting the score 27-21. Kentucky over Auburn. They moved to 6-1, 2-1 in the SEC. My next game, Ole Miss dropped down 11 spots. They fell to Florida last week in the swamp. 38-10, got blew out. That defense, Robert and May, and them guys were not there that game. Chad Kelly and that offense, they were not there as well. They had 1 touchdown all day on that Florida defense. Will Greer and that Florida offense put up 4 touchdowns through the air. But I think they drop down to 14. They take that tough loss. They got an 0-4 New Mexico team that is not good coming in. I think Chad Kelly and that defense with Robert and May, they start to step it up, showing us that they are a top 10 team still. That was just a fluke. They had a bad game. They improved to 5-1. I'm predicting 38-3 final score. Ole Miss moves to 5-1. My next game, this game's a weird one. It was supposed to be LSU at South Carolina. There's actually some floods, I guess, going on, so they're not going to be able to have the game there. The game's been moved to LSU, so it's going to be South Carolina at LSU for a second straight year. LSU moved up to 7 in the polls. They're 4-0. Leonard Fournette, first running back, I believe, maybe just SEC history, maybe college football history, though, to have 3 straight 200-yard football games. He had 230 yards, 3 touchdowns last week versus Eastern Michigan. I think he extends that streak this week to 4 games versus South Carolina. I expect him to boost his Heisman status even more, start running away with the competition. I think LSU wins this game, improves to 5-0. South Carolina is mediocre this year. I think they fall to 2-4. I'm predicting the score 28-17 LSU over South Carolina. My next game, got the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners. Texas is 1-4. Oklahoma 4-0. Baker Mayfield and that Oklahoma offense is the real deal. They went in versus a tough West Virginia defense last week, put up points, did pretty much whatever they wanted, and I think they do that this week as well. I think you're going to see a tougher Texas team than you've seen, though. I think Charlie Strong and that coaching staff is going to start getting it together, start coaching for their jobs, and yeah, they're going to coach for their jobs. I don't think you're going to see these big 50-7 blowouts like they took versus TCU last week, and I don't think you're going to see the blowouts they've had in the previous weeks like versus Notre Dame, but I think they do lose this game. I think the final score, I'm going to say 31-21 Oklahoma over Texas. Final score, Oklahoma 5-0. My next game, Maryland Terps at 2-3. Taking on the 5-0 Ohio State Buckeyes. Oh, man. Maryland's terrible. They got blew out by Michigan last week, 28-0. They got blew out the week before by West Virginia, 45-7. They have no offense. Their defense is horrible. I think this is the game. Ohio State starts getting that pass game offense together. You saw last week. Their defense is there. The run game is there. Ezekiel Elliott, 3 touchdowns in the second half. I mean, the run game's there. I think this is the week where Cardell Jones can get that pass game together. Ohio State can get a big victory and have some confidence that they are the number 1 team in this country. I think they get the win, improve to 6-0. I'm going to say 45 to 45-7. Final score. Ohio State 6-0. Next game, you got Navy going into Notre Dame. Notre Dame's coming off a tough loss to Clemson last week, 24-22. Their first loss of the year. They were down 21-3 in the end of the third quarter. Ended up making the game 24-16 after some awesome, great defensive stops. Notre Dame's defense is for real. But you get yourself in that opportunity, 24-16. Your defense is playing well. The offense, interception, fumble inside the 10-yard line in the fourth quarter, shot themselves in the foot twice. They still get a chance at the end of the game because their defense still force overtime under a minute to go. Backup quarterback for Notre Dame, Kozer, whatever his name is, throws a nice fade pass to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, 24-22. Here's what I have. Here's my problem with the game. Should have went to overtime. That is a terrible, terrible play call by Brian Kelly on the 2-point conversion play. This game should have went to overtime. They run pretty much a sweep right with the quarterback. He goes backwards, reads the hole, tries to come up. There was a little bit of a hole, but my problem with the play is he's running 2-3 yards backwards just to gain 3 yards. He's back at the 5-6 yard line before he even starts cutting up the field. By the time he gets to the 2 yard line, he's got a linebacker right there in his tracks, putting him on his back. Go 5 wide. Give your team the chance to win, force overtime in this game. Give him the option to run the ball. Give him the option to pass the ball, and give the ball to one of your great playmakers like Will Fuller or like C.J. Prosise. Just bad play call by Brian Kelly, but as far as this week's game, Notre Dame, Navy, I think Notre Dame wins this one. Pissed off about last week's loss. I think they win 35-17, improved to 5-1. Next game, I'm excited about this game. 5-0 Northwestern going into 4-1 Michigan. Two of the best defensive teams in the country. You saw what Northwestern did versus Stanford. I think Michigan has 3 shutouts this year. This is going to be a defensive football game. This is going to be a close game, a very close game, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a defensive football game. Whoever can make more stops in the end is going to win this football game, and I think it's going to be Northwestern. Like you saw, very similar versus Stanford. They stopped them inside the 10 numerous times in the fourth quarter to come away with that victory. I think they do it here, improve to 6-0. Michigan falls to 4-2. I'm saying 13-10. Northwestern at Michigan. Oklahoma State going into West Virginia this week. West Virginia coming off a tough loss versus Oklahoma. West Virginia just got news today. They have lost their best player on their team. Carl Joseph could have been a top pick last year. 4-year starter at safety. Has torn his ACL today in a non-contact practice for West Virginia. A terrible loss for my Mountaineers, and I'm pretty speechless about that. That's a guy that could have went to the NFL and made millions last year, and he decided on his own because he's a team player. He's a leader of this team that he would come back for his senior year and do one more run with this team, and he ended up getting hurt. That's what you got to fear. That's what college athletes got to fear right there about coming back for that extra year is, what if I get hurt? And Carl Joseph that's thoughts running through his mind right now. I feel bad for that kid, but I still think he's going to be a stud in the NFL. Just like you see Todd Gurley and all these other guys, Tyrann Mathieu, they tore their ACLs, still got drafted, still having success right now in the NFL. I think you're going to hear Carl Joseph's name in the future. But as far as this game this weekend, I think West Virginia is deep on defense. They're going to be able to replace Carl Joseph. That is one of the best defenses in the country, West Virginia. I think they get the upset victory over Oklahoma State this week, 38-35. Move to 4-1. Next game, this is a good game. 3-1 Miami going into 4-0 Florida State. Last week you saw Florida State running back Dalvin Cook probably run for a 95-yard touchdown run, and he pulled his hamstring. He plays this game. I think Florida State definitely wins this game if they have Dalvin Cook. But Everett Golson, he's starting to be a more one-dimensional quarterback. You see him in the pocket. He's just throwing the ball. You haven't seen him out there running the ball like he did at Notre Dame, really. I think he's starting to be in that Jimbo Fisher offense. How you saw Christian Ponder, how you saw E.J. Manuel, how you saw Jameis Winston. They were pocket-passing quarterbacks. They were good in college, not so good in the NFL. I don't know if that'll be the case for Everett, but you're starting to see him become a really good pocket passer. He's starting to get into this offense. He's starting to learn it, get a hand on it. I think that him and this Florida State team win this game at home versus Miami, improve to 5-0. I'm saying 31-24, Florida State, Jimbo Fisher. This will be 34 of the last 35 games I think he's won, with the only loss being to Oregon last year in the college football playoff. Got to give respect when it's due. Next game, Michigan State dropped down from 2-4 in the polls after barely beating Purdue. Connor Cook had 100 yards passing and only one touchdown. He's been like that the last two games for him. They got a 2-2 Rutgers team on the road, not very talented at all. I think they get another close victory. 28-17 over Rutgers. That Michigan State defense is good. I think they improved to 6-0 going into the Michigan game next week. My next game, got Washington 2-2 going into 3-1 USC. USC coming off a bye. I expect USC, after coming off the loss and the bye and everything, they've been preparing for this game. I expect them to get the victory, move to 4-1, get some momentum going into the Notre Dame game. I'm going to say final score 34-17 USC. This next game I'm not even going to really talk about, just because the simple reason, Kansas football, you guys are embarrassing. You are a disgrace to Division I football schools. You've won maybe 6 games in the last 7 years. You're 0-4 this year. You got a 4-0 Baylor team, the number 3 team in the country, coming in. That offense has been putting up video game numbers, coming off a 63-35 win versus a good Texas Tech team. Kansas, you're going to get rocked. I'm going to say 63-3 final score. Kansas, terrible. 0-5, 5-0 for Baylor. I expect them to put up video game numbers. Next game, 4-1 Illinois going into 5-0 Iowa. Iowa just got a tough win over Wisconsin last week. I expect them to get another tough win this week, improve to 6-0. They're going to win 14-10 over Illinois. Next game, I don't know a lot about Kent State. They're 2-3. But Toledo, they're 4-0. They're 24 in the polls. They've been winning every game by marginal victories. I think they'd win this one as well. Improve to 5-0. Kent State 2-4. I'm going to say 35-10 final score. This next game, wow. Georgia Tech was ranked in the top 12, top 15, I believe, beginning of the year. 2-3 right now. They're going into Clemson, who is 4-0, coming off a tough victory versus Notre Dame. You've seen what Dabo Swinney has done with these kids year after year. This Clemson team has been tough in the ACC for years now. I think they get the win and improve to 5-0. Georgia Tech down to 2-4. I'm predicting 31-14 Clemson. Not even close. Georgia coming off a tough loss to Alabama, 38-10. Nick Chubb was there, but you saw it. Georgia's got quarterback problems. They've had quarterback problems since the day Matt Stafford left. And when you have quarterback problems, you're not going to compete for a national championship. That's straight up. But I think they get the victory this week versus average Tennessee team. As far as SEC goes, I think they win, improve to 5-1, and I'm going to say 28-14 final score. Next game got Boise State. They just beat Hawaii 56-0. They're 4-1. They got 2-3 Colorado State. This is not a good Colorado State team. I expect them to win big again, 49-17 over Colorado State. Improved to 5-1 on the year. Arkansas 2-3 going into 4-1 Alabama. Alabama just spanked Georgia. I expect them to spank Arkansas 35-14 final score. Arkansas 2-4, Alabama 5-1. Next game, you got number 23 Cal at 5-0 going into 5 Utah. Number 4 Cal just got a nice victory last week. Utah coming off a bye, jumped 5 spots in a bye because of 4 top 10 losses last week. They're up to number 5 in the country right now. Here's my upset of the week, guys. Jeff Goff and that California offense going to light it up. I think they beat Utah on the road. Upset of the week. Improved to 6-0. Utah falls to 4-1. 38-34. Final score. Cal wins this game. Next game, TCU. That offense last week, Trayvon Boykin is all I got to say. They're 5-0. They're taking on a Kansas State team that just lost their first game last week, 36-34 to Oklahoma State in the final seconds of the game. They're 3-1. I think they fall to 3-2 this week. Trayvon Boykin and TCU improved to 6-0. I'm saying 45-28 final score. In the final game that I'm predicting for this week, I know it's finally over. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. 5-0, Florida under first-year head coach. I think they improved to 6-0. Great story right there. Florida, I think the only thing that's been holding Florida back since Urban Meyer left is that dumbass they put as their head coach the last few years. Munch, I don't even know what his name is. Camp, whatever. He's garbage. Should never get another chance to coach another college football team as far as a head coach. You've seen that this year, how this team's already improved 1 year with him gone. They're about to be 6-0. Matty Mock from Missouri, suspended for the rest of the year. Missouri starts falling apart. They fall to 4-2 this week. They lost to Kentucky a couple weeks back. Matty Mock's gone. Florida wins this game 31-17 over Missouri. Improves to 6-0 on the year. And that's all I got for the top college football picks for this week's games. I'm Keith Scott. Listen in. Give me some criticism, some comments. Let me know if you got any questions, anything you want me to talk about for future weeks. I'll have more videos up soon. Thanks for listening, guys.